research. So now we are moving ahead to the interview section of today's webinar. Today is our 14th webinar of the series, and we are honored to have with us a very distinguished scientist, Dr. Kaushal Bhati.
No, I'm not
So,
distinguished.
we would like to know more about you, and I would like you to describe your journey so far as a scientist.
Okay, so I mean, I haven't traveled a journey yet because I'm pretty young to say these things even now. But what I have learned is through my teachers, mentors, and friends a lot. And I mean, these are learnings I always appreciate and I admire them, their time they give to me during teaching or discussions, during tea time, for example. That's another biggest aspect of being in research. Yeah, so I mean, what I followed is typical paths everyone follow. Is I mean, I wanted to get involved in research, of course, but before that, I wanted to join Indian Army.
Okay.
At some situation that didn't happen because of a few things. So, and then my father wants me to follow medical, which I find boring. So there was a clear path around my high school that I want to go into research. And during bachelor's, I was more interested in human physiology and things, more into kind of medical research or biomedical sciences. But things didn't happen that way too. So I followed, I gave number of entrance exams and I got selected into the BHU plant biotechnology program. It wasn't my first choice, but I had no choice either. So I joined that. And during masters, I got fellowship. So I wanted to join a certain group I was really sure about. So I joined them and things didn't went really well. So I switched to other lab where I finished my PhD with Dr. Ajay Kumar Pandey. And I'm really in gratitude for what I learned in his lab, including personal life, professional life, and then scientific attitude, of course. And following that, I moved to Stephen's lab, and he was kind enough to offer me postdoc even before I finished my PhD. So he booked my ticket in advance. You finish your PhD and fly to us. So, and everyone, my faculty in Nabi, where I did my PhD, in Punjab University, they helped me a lot to get through fast the PhD process and as well as defense, so that I can catch my flight right next day of my PhD defense. So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah. So I fly. I joined the Stephen's lab, which was really great stay in terms of learning, meeting a lot of good friends, and the scientific aptitude, of course. I mean, that's what I'm saying. For my journey, I always dedicate my journey till now, which is not journey yet. I don't know how far I will go in future. But this all goes to people I have discussion with, the people who give their time to me as a teacher, mentor, friend, family, of course. My parents, brothers, sisters, wife, and now daughter. Yeah. So post microprotein lab, I joined Henry Batoko lab here in Louvain. And here we are doing now really cool and exciting stuff related to plant autophagy, as well as some other side projects. Those are also should get published soon. And again, I mean, I have really good journey in terms of having good mentors. I'm really satisfied here too, again. So thanks to Henry. And we also got cool grants to work and to support our research here in Belgium. Yeah. So, I mean, there is no pathway that I followed. It's just that I believe in flow. Whatever I keep getting, I keep following. I didn't wish too much. So it's everything which I have is what I get. Yeah.
Thanks. My next question is, how can we translate our knowledge of microproteins
Mhm.
into food security?
Yeah, that's actually really cool question. So food security has, in my view, two aspects. First is enough yield to feed everyone and enough nutrition to make everyone healthy. So during my PhD time, I worked with nutrition quality, including reducing anti-nutrient phytic acid content in wheat. That was also part of nutrition security, I would say. But in terms of both aspect, food security and nutrition security, microproteins could be really potential. The paper we published recently, it talks about series of microproteins targeting different pathways, which I answered also during questions. For example, there could be microproteins, those are controlling yield or knocking them out using CRISPR, or overexpressing them could change the things we are seeing now. For example, the yield loss due to drought. Nowadays, there is a lot of drought in Europe, as well as not enough rain due to global warming. Food security is a bigger aspect of seeing bigger problems, or how bigger problems are influencing our food, not by quality, but also by quantity. So the biotechnology in general is also answering these questions, but MIP as a tool could be subset of that bigger efforts that biotechnologists are doing to secure food and quality for us, for future generations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So coming to my next question, which sectors of plant science research and agriculture will prosper in the near future, according to you?
Food security.
Like
I
some,
mean, you know,
do you specify some technological innovations or some?
I see. I mean, there is no such God technology except CRISPR till date. Before this, RNA was something that you reduce or regulate negatively certain mRNA and generate quality trait. For example, happened in development of different commercialized varieties in soya bean, for example, or other crops. But yeah, CRISPR could be the breakthrough. I mean, it is already a breakthrough. I wouldn't say could be. We are already seeing a lot of magical things CRISPR is doing.
Mhm.
But again, agriculture is, or food and agriculture aspect is very crucial for population on Earth. And these technologies should help securing good food and nutrition quality.
Mhm. Okay, coming towards the end of our interview, I would like you to give few words of advice to the young research fellows out there.
Oh, I'm young.
You're
so,
young too, but there are
so
more
I,
younger generations
yeah,
seeing you,
uh,
listening to you, and taking
okay.
up inspiration from you. So we would like you to
So
give
I,
advice
I
to
mean,
them.
I don't want to sound old by advising this, but whatever I have learned till date is, if you are at undergraduate level, read a lot of books and learn the basics, because they goes along till you die, especially good books, and spend time in library, and enjoy time with friends. So and then I mean, in India particularly, there is a pathway that everyone follows. For example, do a bachelor, join a big university for masters, join a research institute for PhD with a big name mentor, get fellowships at every stage. That helps your CV. And then after publishing a huge amount of paper, go behind all these awards and stuff. They looks good on your wall, which I don't have. So and
You'll soon have.
and then for masters, I would say they should focus more on developing the question ability. Asking question is a really big thing, not answering question. So what we focus more on getting superficial knowledge, and then we want to quickly move on to something which I really find offended. I mean, for my personal sake, I digged a lot of books. I mean, all of my friends, actually, all of my circle, we read a lot of books, every book possible in molecular biology. And that really helps. There are faster ways to do something, but there are more interesting ways to do something. If you want to retain in research, you need to learn how to question and how to find answer. So at masters, everyone should learn how to ask question. During PhD, you should learn how to answer question. And of course, talking to people, that's another biggest thing I would say should learn at PhD situation. Talking to people, making network, and then learning how to deal with the stress, of course. And yeah, network, dealing stress, learning how to answer question, that's enough to learn as a scientific thing. For postdoc situation, I would say we should know how to lead. We should learn how to lead things, how to take initiative over things. And then because everything which we have learned is now time to apply that. At some point we will be leader, group leader or something. We know how to talk to people, which we learned. We know concepts which we learned during bachelor. We know how to answer questions. We know how to lead. So the step by step you learn, you become something. And on philosophical part, I would suggest everyone should feel grateful to the people who are helping you, people who are around you. Everyone should help each other, because this career path is really stressful. It's really struggling. It goes really long away. You really need companions to go along with you. And when you don't have companion, you start losing the personal peace, inner peace. Yeah. And yeah, whatever you do, unless you have a deadline coming, always choose life.
Sure. With such a nice, inspiring words, I will hand over it to Shiva. Thank you, Dr. Kaushal, for your kind words and your time.